Hi guys, my name is Swadhan. This video is a continuation of our JavaScript interview question and answer video, which I made on asynchronous programming. If you have not seen this video, I'll add the link in the description. You can check that out. So let's get started. We discussed in the previous video that we have a problem with the synchronous approach. So in some time we need asynchronous programming to do something, and we have this multiple task issue. We discussed like we need to load some data from API and we need to print that data, and we did fix that using callbacks. But now let's move to the second approach we have, that is called as promises. Let's quickly move to VS Code to implement that. So this is the code we did in the callback to fix our issue. Let's do something new, which is promises. To implement promises, what I will do here, before this set timeout, I'll create a promise. What I will do here, inside this create user, I'll return a promise, which is basically a class. So for that, I'll instantiate that and I'll return that promise. You can see that this class, and inside that we get a callback function, and that callback function is basically I can use arrow function to do that, and that callback function have two parameter basically, that is resolve and reject. This is a two parameter promise have. Either we can resolve it or we can reject it. Will resolve and will reject in case of any error. So I will move this set timeout function from here to inside this. And what I will do, once we get the user, once we have this user element added to our array, I will resolve this promise. And for that, in a general case, we'll be adding error handling to check whether we are getting any error, because we'll be connected to the server. Maybe we have some errors, but for now, I'll just create a Boolean value that will be like const error equal to false initially. Okay, means this will be useful in our further case. Well, I'll not use that for now. What I will do, I'll check error. If just think like we are getting an error. If that is true, we have an error. If that is false, we don't have an error. In real case, we'll have a real try catch handling to check this part. So here what I'll do, I'll just check whether there is error. If the error is not there, then I will resolve it. So I'll just call this resolve, which the parameter we have. And if there is an error, then I will call the reject, and with the reject I will pass some error message also, like I'll pass something like something went wrong. Okay, and this basically, this will be this two thing we can do in a promise. That the first thing is I can resolve it or reject it. So now I can remove this callback because I don't need this callback now, and I'll remove this callback from here. We don't have a callback function to do that. And similarly, I'll use for where I'm using this, and I'll remove all this thing from here also, second parameter. So basically this create user will either return me resolve, means either it will say it is resolved, or it will reject this and it will give me an error. And since it is a promise now, so I can attach something like dot then to this method, which will basically means whatever I do inside this then will be executed once this create user is completed. So inside this I can call my get users method, and this will do the exactly same thing what we are doing before. Means it is taking 3 seconds, and you can see that we are able to see this new element inside our list, because there is this, the first line we have, this is calling this method, and this method just returning me a promise, which is in our case it is resolving because the error is false, and it is resolving, and it is after resolving it is returning that promise to here, and then we are executing this get user method. So this is one way. So let's give an error here and check what will happen then. So I'll just make it this error functionality err to true, so that we can see error. And if I save it, we are not getting anything now. And you can see that we have a red color error here, which is saying uncut error in promise, and we are having that red signal that is something went wrong. And we can handle this kind of thing in a promise also by using, there is another like dot, then we have something called dot catch, and here we can basically get the error and we can do something with that. And we can basically, from this red error what you're seeing, we can show some custom error message, like I will say like console.log and I can give some meaningful message like not able to add the user. And if I save it, it should give me this message, whatever I am typing here, okay, whatever the error we have here, or I can, or it will be directly, so you can, if you go to here in info, you can see that we are getting not able to add the user, or we can directly also pass the error message here without this one, because we are in the catch, we are getting this error, this part basically. And if I save it, you can see that there's something went wrong, we are getting as a message, but there is the red signal is not there, now it is not in red color, which was previously uncatchable. Now we are catching it, and we can do something on the basis of that. And this is basically we have called as promises. And we can have multiple promises, means this is the first thing we are doing is we are taking a promise, and from that we are getting, so we are adding a user, and once the user is there, we are able to print all the user inside the get user. So let me quickly back to the old one, so that we can see everything is working fine, and we can see all our user here, okay. And you can see that all our 3 users added. If I add another one also, it will be added using this then, because after this first function is executed, we are calling this function. Next, let's have some more thing. We can have multiple promises also. So what we can do here, I'll just use promise, okay, multiple, okay. I'll just add a comment here, and I'll first create a promise called as promise. Okay, and I'll just call this promise, and I'll just call this a promise one, okay. And I'll create new promise, okay. And that promise will basically, as how we created there, it will have resolve or reject. So I'll use the resolve method. It's by default had this resolve and reject method. I'll use this resolve method, and inside that I'll just pass my name, so Adin. And I can have, after that I will have another promise. Okay, I'll just copy paste the same promise, and instead of string, I'll just return a integer. That will be our second promise, and instead of the string, I'll just return it maybe integer. I'll not create an instance there. I'll directly use equal to 10. The third promise we have is basically I'll create a third promise here, and here I'll give this as promise 3, and I can instantiate that using new promise, and it will take a callback function. I can do something like a arrow function I can use here to utilize that, and it will have 2 value here. One is resolve, like we did in the previous method, and the another will be reject, which the 2 value yet have, either you can resolve it or reject it. And inside that I can have a set timeout. I can have a set timeout, and this will take a function. Why I'm using set timeout? To make it little delay, because I want this 2 will be immediately executed, but this third promise will take little time. That's what I want to create. So I'll use this take a callback function, and I can do something on that here. Sorry. After this, I can take inside this function, I can give some delay like 3 milliseconds, and here I will execute that resolve. Means I'll just say resolve, and I'll pass some it got resolved, some random value that we don't care about that, but it will take 3 seconds to resolve this promise. And we have this promise 2, and we have this, okay, here we have promise dot resolve. And what we need to do now is we have created 3 promise. We need to call that, and we can call all these 3 promise at once using our method promise, the class, and there is an all method, and it takes an array of promises. So I can pass all these promises one by one. So I'll pass promise 1, 2, promise 2, and then promise 3. And after that I can append it then, so it will give me all the results in then, and here it will have a callback function, and it will have this callback function will have all the value we are getting this from this promise 1, promise 2, and promise 3, and I can put that in a values variable. And here I'll just use console dot log to print those values, so that we can see what this promises are. And you can see that it will wait for 3 seconds to show us the result, because we have given a 3 millisecond delay here. And see, if I refresh now, we got the value, but if I refresh it, it will take not immediately load it. It will wait for 3 seconds for this code to load it, and then we are able to see that in console. And if I open this, you can see all this thing got resolved. Means we are getting Swadhin for the first promise, Second one is giving us 10, and the third one is giving us it got resolved. So this is about promise, and this helps us to do asynchronous coding in an effective way. There is another way to do that, that is called as async and await. We'll discuss that in our next video. See you there. Bye bye.